We don't care. Vibing, driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Vibing, driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Vibing, driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care.
That's a hit for your ass, nigga. Hit for your ass, nigga. Profit
all night long. YouTube. Let me situate this. Y'all let me know if you could hear me or not. Got a little new something. You know, some new toys to play with. Take this thing a little more serious. Damn, seriously. You gotta see my face though. I'm still learning, y'all. I'm still learning. Peace to the OGs in this YouTube space. Peace to the OGs in this YouTube space that have given me the opportunity to see some of the fatal flaws in terms of what I'm doing and to get better. That's all I can ask. What it do, folks? First things first. Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, something like that. Pretty much, I want to just send special love to everybody, regardless of who or what your deity is and who you worship. You know, if you have some sort of momentous day of reverence around this time, I want to send special love to you. I want to send some special love to you, and I hope that you and everyone within your love periphery feels happy and refreshed. Happy and refreshed. Me personally, you know, I did something that made me happy and refreshed this weekend. You know what I'm saying? But you'll hear about that going on some point in the future. Maybe it's a different stream. Today, though, today is going to be a special type of stream. Special type of stream. Let me see what we got here. Gotcha. All right. So it's going to be a special type of stream. What's going to be so special about it? We are going to be discussing fatherhood. But not just from the regular fatherhood perspective and the biblicals and this, that, and the other. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is we're going to be discussing fatherhood. I'm still learning, part of me. Still going to be discussing fatherhood. But in order to do it, one of the people, I kind of call him a young chef. You know, not saying that I'm great, but he's thinking the way that I wish that I was thinking at his age or earlier. And his name is Victor Freeze Music. We're going to be bringing him up. But one of the things that we did was, you know, he pressed for me to bring action steps, for us to incorporate action steps into what we do and what we talk about. So it's not just pie in the sky talk, a bunch of philosophers just talking dream stuff, you know? So with that being said, we came up with some literacies. We're going to talk about it. Before we talk about it, I'm going to bring my man up to the front. You know
what's going on? What's going on?
Chilling. And if y'all could see, he's rocking that UPS Brown. So he is ready to deliver.
What can Brown do for you?
You see what I did? Yeah. Question for you. How does mic sound, bro?
Perfect.
For real?
Hey,
Yeah.
That's spent. That's spent. That's lightweight spent. All right.
Look at that. Woo! Woo! Yeah, man. Not film. Look, still filming on a potato, but I moved my microphone up to the French fry status. It's more nutritious.
Right.
Right?
Hey, after a while, you be up on lettuce.
Nah, man. That's what I'm saying. Right. But yeah, bro, I might be playing with this a little bit throughout the broadcast just to get this thing situated. I'm learning, y'all. I'm learning, but I love learning. Learning is
Just
sexy.
living.
Yeah, yo. So talk to me, big dog. How you feeling today? How's the family?
Everybody's good. You know what I mean? Girls are over the moon. Boys are busy being boys. Everything is copacetic for the time.
Cool.
Good way to go into 22.
That's a beautiful thing. So, I was talking to the folks and I was kind of letting them know that this was, I won't say an arduous task, but it was definitely a thought out task. Why? Because we didn't want to just talk about some BS. We wanted to really come with something that made sense, so there was some prep that came into it. But I want you to remember this, folks. This is us. We're going to call this an inaugural. We're going to call this an inaugural episode in this series in terms of the Fatherhood Cognac Sip. We do it right. We'll do it every month or every other month, depending on what's what. But it's going to be important we talk about it. So, Vic, talk to me. What do you think about fatherhood?
As a general sense,
Yeah. Explain your connection to fatherhood. How about that?
well, in order to be a father, you have to know what a father looks like, what a father's job is. And a lot of us didn't get a lot of great examples. So for me,
I asked you the wrong question.
Okay.
Asked you the wrong question. So what I meant was your relationship to fatherhood. Are you a father? You got any kids? I want you to, yeah, like.
Right. That's what I said. So,
Okay.
I didn't have that father figure. I had male figures, but I didn't have a father figure that I was able to study directly. So, a lot of my thoughts are informed from television as far as what images I have of what a man/father is supposed to be. So to put that in action in my real life, a lot of people say, they don't know me to have children of my own, and the fact of the matter is, I've helped to raise quite a few children that are now functioning adults, and I'm actually raising 4 currently. So I have a lot of parenting experience, even though I am not officially a parent with a blood child of my own. So that is my connection to fatherhood. I got a 12-year-old, a 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 5-year-old currently. So that's my direct kinship to this topic.
Watch this. You're playing some fatherly role at this point, right?
Correct.
You're a father within your community directly,
Correct.
daily. So that's good enough for me. All right. I'm a father. I have a son, 22-year-old son, and 3 daughters. All right, folks. And we're going to bring up one of the soldiers.
What's happening?
Now it's not Beyonce and Michelle. Now it's actually Destiny right now. So we can call it the Nighthawks. If they was to throw a girl in here and 100 Watts was in here, it would not be the Nighthawks. It would be 2/3 of the Nighthawks and Jenny or something like that. So there's only one Nighthawks. What it do? 100
Man,
Watts.
what's happening? What it is, man? I go by the name of 100 Watts, and I love those that love me. How y'all doing?
Chilling, big dog. Today was one of those things that I felt was important for us to talk about, man. And you see now it's not just you. You see, bong bong.
Yeah. See, one of these days, we all gonna get on the same level. One of these days, I'm gonna have the lights behind me tripping like Vic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, I want to say much love and shout out to the chat, man. The last
First of all, don't think I'm lacking, okay? You know what I'm saying? Don't think I'm lacking. All right. You know, the shit is real now. Y'all just be patient. Be patient with your boy. Just be patient with your boy.
Look, I ain't put the afro in the joint, you know what I mean? But look, good. We stepping up. I like that. Growth is a beautiful thing. So while we here, let me just say this. Honey Watts, bro. Please let these folks know your connection with fatherhood.
Oh man, y'all already know where I'm at, man. The three little ones I got in my life, that's the biggest thing I got in my life going right now. You feel me? That's everything to me. That's my heart outside of my chest. Man, look, man.
Tell them what the genders. Tell them the genders.
2 girls, and a boy. 10, 3, and about to be 2 pretty soon.
Okay. Cool. So just so you guys see, we are fathers in multiple senses of the word. All right. So first things first, what I'd like to do is always start with the blessings of love. Queen Nita, she's the first at everything. First one to comment on the video. It's like, how she even be first before I even upload the video? I'm still uploading and it's processing. It's like she's first.
Hey, yo, shout out to What the Funk, because if he's still in Germany, man, that time zone, bro, like, it's like dumb early in the morning right now, bro. Well, and you here right now, so we appreciate you.
Yo, What the Funk? Listen, let me tell you something. Remember I said people that donate to the channel and, you know, in a major way, I call them sponsors. What the Funk literally is a sponsor now. Why? He did not send me a penny. He literally hit me up during some very tenuous times over the course of the last 2 weeks, literally just to check on me. Hey, bro, just checking on you. Everything is good. We love you out here. You know, 2022 is going to be your time. We need to hear your voice. Stuff like that. We need to hear your voice. Hey, I'm going to send you this list here. Take a look at it. It might be something that you'll be able to use for your show. Voice message, text message. It's motivation from a Black man that lives over in Europe. That's the beautiful thing. So I got to give that dude a lot of props. If you guys understand the show that we did, the brainstorming show, obviously because we let, you know, Vic and I let you into some of the preparation process. We did take we took the stream down, of course. You know, if you participated and you were there, beautiful. But we took it down afterwards because we don't want to let too many folks into that process. So if you want to see it, you got to be there. But nonetheless, every question that we asked of those 20 questions during the question game were provided by What the Funk. Literally. So I had to stop to give the thank you with an extreme amount of enthusiasm. Nick Anthony, editor to
fuck all that.
The Nick Anthony, editor to the stars. No matter what they say, I rock with you, bro. You are a supporter. You are a sponsor. You already know what it is, big dog. Oh, yeah, we're going to have a nice, productive conversation. Thank you, 100 Watts. Thank you for making sure these folks understand what it is. Robert Cram, my brother, I agree with you. We should dominate the manosphere, all right? Big ups to you as well, my brother. Blizzy, my man.
Black.
What it do, fam? All right. Hope you've gotten a good shower in, so no worries about itchy hoodies anymore. All right. Ba-dum bung. All right. I see you all. Okay. So, you know, I am sipping, but kind of slow rolling it today. So I got the 40-ounce Red Bull and the Aqua joint, but I'm still going to be spicy. Right. Here she is right here. You see this person here? Come on, man. Pure energy manifested in the flesh, aka quantum love.
Hey, it's crazy. She typed that, man. My for earning my stripes next podcast. We got a new sponsor, Luxury Treats.
Ooh,
Wonderful, amazing adult treats. You know what I'm saying? We got popcorn, Rice Krispie treats, cookies, brownies, some Oreo cookies. Yeah, 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 yeah. Y'all be
okay.
looking out for that luxury treats.
Luxury treats. Let's do it. Here we go. The Boise B. I see you, family. Now we know what it is. Uh-oh, young troublemaker. I see you. Trucking princess. What's going on? Lucky Marie. What it do? What it do? I see you in the spot. Peace, peace, gun. Peace, DeAndre Williams. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Love, love, love. We live. Oh, snap. Or we live. Whichever one it is.
The
Greetings to
English language, a motherfucker.
Ain't it a beautiful thing? It's like a tailored suit that you can tailor and untailor at your will without using a freaking needle and thread. Who else we got? Miko Mecca, I haven't seen you in a minute. What's going on? Mika Marcel, what's going on, Mod? Miss Mary, what's up?
Mrs. Smith.
No, Miss Married, I know Aisha Smith.
Oh yeah, she shouted him out specifically. He was giving love back.
Okay, cool, cool. Oh, my bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Brother Vaughn, Vaughn Bryant, my man. Misha Mack, ¿cómo está? What's going on? Pinay princess. If you understand what Pinay and Pinoy means, if you're a Pinay, that means you're a Filipino, a Filipina, Filipino woman. If you're a Pinoy, that means you're a Filipino man. You know? Damn, and I guess because I'm older than you, Misha Mack, I would be considered Kuya. But we ain't playing age games over here.
What's
Kuya,
that? Old head in the Philippine language or something?
Kuya means big brother.
Oh, okay. See,
So yeah,
you got to translate for us less experienced people, less traveled people. You know what I'm saying? You got to translate for us.
oh, yeah. I mean, you got to travel too, but yeah, it was different. You had to focus and
Yeah, that was different.
You was packing heat, right. It was a
Hey,
different.
but look, 2022, passport on the way, baby.
Right.
Passport on the way, baby.
That's what I'm saying. And we're gonna pull up on Rico's crib. So, folks, let me see what we have right now. We have 27 folks in the room. 27. Let me take a look at what these lights are looking like.
The likes and bodies will take that, but we still need to get it up. You know what I'm saying?
Let me take a look at it. Definitely.
I need y'all to make sure you are helping Chef share these videos. We need to get Chef to 500 before January is over. Before Black History Month come and we start cooking for real, I need y'all to help Chef get to 500.
Right. I want to do this the right way before Black History comes. Before Black History Month comes, I want to do this the right way, yo. I don't want to
know we're going to get spiced, nice and spiced.
Right. I don't want to do clickbait. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to be sensational, come out and start singing in whiteface or some shit. Mammy. I don't want to do none of that, man. Nah, I don't want to do it.
Don't make me.
Don't make me. You know. What's up with these young bucks? Let's start some of the conversation, man. Let's talk about some of these young bucks out here, man. Let's start with the artists. Some of the artists, man. What's one of the things that kind of annoys you about some of the young hip hop artists, the young artists of this day? Doesn't have to be hip hop, the young ones.
I ain't even gonna say it's necessarily their fault, but when you take a 16-year-old kid, you put $150,000 worth of jewels on him. You give them a little goofy contract for $1 million. Tell them all you gotta do is give me an album. Yo, these dudes get reckless. They get reckless and fast, way too fast. They just become open and experienced to way too much. So you leave them open and vulnerable to make so many bad decisions. Because the people that's around them, all they worried about is just making sure they maintain this image to keep the money rolling in. It's not about making smart decisions. it's just about, man, they get exposed way too much too early.
Okay,
Too
okay.
early, Siler. Yeah.
Too early.
I would say, as far as artists are concerned, young artists in particular, I think their fatal flaw is that they don't know what they don't know. And because they don't know, they can't teach. And they don't feel like teachers. So they doing them. They living their life when in actuality they're informing our children probably more and more heavily than we are. So just like a lot of people say, I ain't no role model. You don't got no choice when you become a public figure. You just don't have a choice.
Okay, okay. I see where you're coming from. When I think, so I'll speak from my perspective when I look at the newer generations of art, the newer generation of artists. I don't believe that they have fully embraced the pain, the stress, and the necessary endurance and grit that the older generation of artists had to endure. So as they gain the success that they're gaining at a faster pace, at a more lucrative rate as well, I believe that they're making more risky decisions because everything was gravy. So watch this. If Vic was a sharecropper, and Vic was a sharecropper, and Lil Vic Jr., had to watch Daddy scrape, and grind and come home with bloody hands and everything in order to feed that family. And he understood everything wasn't hard. Wasn't easy. When he finds himself within a socioeconomic position where he has somewhere in the back of his mind that lacking previously is going to be the thing that either makes him be more responsible with how he spends, but will also push him as a fuel further to get away from potential poverty. You follow? I believe that that's one thing. The rich kid, though, the kid that grew up with the silver spoon in his mouth, he got the silver spoon in his mouth. He got the Benz at the age of 15, lives in a mansion with his family. He might be within a different type of dynamic because he has not experienced the loss. So there's a different set of entitlement that he possesses. So I said all that long drawn out stuff to say and build a dynamic. I believe that some of the artists now, the younger artists, are so entitled that it takes them out of natural reality. They do make more money and things are a lot easier because there's more streams for monetization. But I believe that there's a high degree of entitlement that exists without appreciation / gratitude. I'm going to bring one of the brothers up that I was talking about earlier. My man, what the funk? What's going on, bro?
What's happening, brother?
Good morning, greetings. 100 watts. The editor for O'Shea Duke Jackson, his channel is called SPK Speaks. He just dropped a video where he's sponsoring and he's having a contest to get people passports. If you go in there and write your information in the chat, you might be able to win and he'll pay for your passport.
Say less, thank you, sir. The name one more time for me.
SPK Speaks.
SPK Speaks. Say less.
The editor for O'Shea Duke Jackson's videos. He has a dope channel as well.
That's gangster. That's gangster. So, what's going on with the funk? Please, outside of what I said, please explain to these folks what makes you a unique soul and how you apply it to this wonderful conversation.
Literature is truly important, and I think it's something that's kind of been lost in our culture. I remember growing up, and it's like, and this was like in the 90s. If you had a book, it was like, hey, what you doing reading a book? This is like, bam, like what you mean? Which crazy stereotype. So I'm not even joking. Like it was legitly like that, and I'm sure it's even crazier now. Like to see a black man with a book was just like so out the norm. But there's so much you can learn growing up reading books that will shape what you're going to be as an adult. And that's why I was really drawn to this topic, because there are definitely books that young Malcolm, for my son, I'm going to make sure that he reads, and for my daughter, I'll make sure that she reads. But anyone, I always recommend reading will help you discover who you are, and sometimes remind you who you need to be.
All right. And I want you to please tell them where you are for the folks, because we do have newer folks too that haven't been to a lot of the older streams. Please tell them where you're located and, how many kids, what, the gender makeup of your children.
Okay, my daughter will be 5 in February. My son is 2, and I'm in Germany. I've been here for 7 years, but I'm from Langston, Oklahoma, a small black college, HBCU in the middle of nowhere.
All right. What brought you to Germany, brother?
Got flew out and had a bar, started it, did some work, and then came here, made 2 children. Now I'm here.
Gotcha. All right.
You got flued out? You got flued out, bro?
Flew out.
He's exotic. He's exotic.
I ain't mad at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to be touching on a few topics tonight. I didn't want to really bring the topics up too early in the game. In terms of the literacies that we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about financial literacy, educational literacy, all right, emotional literacy. And that's going to be more of a retouch in terms of when we talk about stoicism, and transcendentalism. We're going to also talk about, I'm going to bring this thing up here. Got my notes for you. We got notes, y'all. So
yeah, well, a woman, yes, a woman, Cheryl, yeah.
Situational endurance. Well, situational endurance is where the stoicism, transcendentalism comes in. So let's get it started. Right now, we have 24 folks in the room. I'm going to do the customary, get those likes up. Let's subscribe. Come on. So I'm going to start. I'm going to ask each of you some questions. All right. And I'll go with you first. What the phone?
Okay.
First question. Is there anything that you wish you had learned? Not specifically from anyone, that just anything specifically you wish you'd learn when you were younger that would have changed the trajectory of your current life in a better place, put it in a better place?
I wish at an early age I would have learned not to spend so much money on marijuana and dating. If I had not spent my 20s on marijuana and dating, I'm retired now, but I'd be retired in my 30s.
Did you read my diary or something? What's happening right now?
Dead ass. Like, I don't think we really realize how much money we spend on that smoke. And it's not so much just the weed, it's what you spend when you're high. When you're trying to have that good time, when you got it's really actually ridiculous when you look back and think about how much money you spent partying or being in high mode, or how much money you spent dating and trying to get attention. And I'm very glad that I learned how to date cheaply at an early age, but still, it costs money. And I like the direction that the ministry kind of teaches young men to kind of focus on their passion in their 20s so much more than trying to focus on the building of their facade, which I think in the 90s, that's what we kind of spent our money on.
I can say for myself, the one thing that I definitely needed when I was younger that I have now is patience. I was trying to do so much so fast at one time. If at the time I was patient and would have focused on one particular task or one particular objective instead of trying to do everything all at one time, because I had a either patience and delegation. Like I just had a problem with letting other people do stuff for me. It's just it all had to be done by me. It was my vision or my process. It all had to be done with me. So if I was able to have those two things, then I probably would have changed a few. My trajectory would have definitely been a little different than what it is right now.
How did you end up learning patience? If you don't mind me asking.
My daughter actually.
Mm.
When I came home from Afghanistan, at the time my daughter was probably 8 months old. So I missed all of the stuff that her mother had to deal with early. So for me, it was just getting like when I came in, it was straight in the door. It was just all right. She's crying crazy hours of the night. The sleeping schedules, all of it. It just all got through at me at one time. Plus trying to deal with the transition of coming back home. Like I had to learn how to slow down at that point in time because my emotions were going so high so fast. I had to slow down.
It's dope. Respect.
I can dig that. um, I would say mastery. Um, Multiple talents can be a gift and a curse, and sometimes the abundance of options is worse than no options at all. And they say, who's more dangerous, the man with 1,000 moves or the man with one move that he practices 1,000 times? And I've learned that, but it took me a while to learn that. Mm. You know how you hear the jack of all trade, master of none, but it never stuck. It never stuck. It never hit like that last parable, you know. And if I could have learned that early, I think it would have been a lot better. I spent a lot of time spinning my wheels trying to go in all directions.
It's pretty interesting you say that because that's one of the things that I believe that had plagued me too. Master of all, I mean jack of all, master of none. Or there was a few different things that I did well, so I never had to focus because I never had to fully be invested in this thing here, and then opportunities would show itself. And that's still, that's a paradox of choice. When you start to understand you have options, the moves that you make, they become different. So I agree with you on that one. But for me, I think the one thing that I wish I would have understood was everybody was not going to be as honest as I was. And what I mean is, in terms of transparency, I allowed different kind of things into my purview, into my circle throughout life, just because. And I allow myself to be extremely transparent in certain situations. Transparency is good because it shows truth. It reflects truth and honesty. By the same token, transparency creates a vulnerability. It's like living in a glass house. Everybody on the outside can see what the hell you're doing. See you in the shower, see you on the toilet, see you in the kitchen, see whatever. And that can create a level of vulnerability depending on who you allow to see what's going on. So coming from where I was coming from and seeing certain things, there were certain folks that I should have never held court with, but so for me, understanding myself and understanding, that transparency, if I wasn't as transparent, if I was more cagey like I am now, I would have definitely been in a lot of different situations, especially involving negotiations and interpersonal relationships. You know, well, how that sound to you?
That sounds on point. Especially, I think you said you grew up in New York. You have to learn that at an early age, who to deal with, who not to deal with, and who is going to bring you energy. It's always the quote, and like, oh, the good die young, or it's always it's like that happens so much. You really have to make sure who you align yourself with. It's always like the innocent person that ends up getting the bullshit sometimes.
Right.
And too many of us have been lost just because of idiocracy. People getting lost who weren't even involved in the problems that were supposed to be in between. So I'm glad that you learned. I'm sure you had to learn that, and you probably had a few situations that taught you, like, hey, I gotta learn from this, or eventually you wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, who you telling, bro?
So, and on that point, like for me, like I had to get into a couple of fights. Like I had to get punched in the mouth a couple of times to understand that, because it was just, I'm gonna stand on mine. Ain't nobody, it's not. This ain't necessarily the hill to die on, bro. Like it's okay to just pack it up and leave. Like it's okay, calm down. Like I had to get punched in the mouth a couple of times before I realized that.
Yeah, my uncle always said the hero who dies in battle, and the coward gets to go home to tell the wife how the hero died in battle, and then he gets to fuck her. So you get to go home to the widow and tell her how amazing her hero husband was, and then how he was such an amazing man, and you just console her and get in them cheeks. I had a light skinned, green eyed uncle, so you know how they do.
Hey, look, Chef. And we need to come back to this, all right? Because Frank just made me think of it. And are we being sold a dream with the term hero? Brave? Are these?
Let's talk about it, bro.
Hey, hero and real nigga are the same thing.
Okay, then.
We talking about that, what I call the Tupac archetype. The one that's ready. I'm ready. I'm ready for war. I'm ready to die. I'm ready. Not truly prepared, but just ready.
Ready.
Right. So it's funny. So there's a really, really interesting guy, PhD, named William Farrell, right? And this interesting brother talked about something. So I wanna kind of,
not the comedian.
No.
That's
Will Ferrell. That's Will Ferrell.
I just had to clarify. Wait, like he got a PhD since when? I just had to. Had to.
Right. So I want to make sure everybody okay. I see you, E Blizzy. All right, it's all hot there. I see you as well. Thanks for joining in. Let me drop this link in here as well. We're gonna make this a group discussion. Hold on. All right. So I'm gonna play this, and let's take a look and see what you guys think about that.
Do we need to mute ourselves?
No, it's gonna automatically mute you once I share it. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Think about when we hear of a police officer shooting a black boy. We rightly protest, Black Lives Matter. But no one even thinks of saying, boys' lives matter. The boy in Black Boy we're invisible to. The boy part of Black Boy doesn't matter because historically we've been dependent upon boys dying in order for us to live. We bribe them by social bribes calling them heroes, telling them they'll have glory if they die on our behalf. So our first issue is if our very survival has been dependent upon our son's willingness to die, being sensitive to their death competes with our survival instinct.
Wow. Counterproductive.
Do I need to hit that with that one more time?
You might just
I
have to.
did that a long time ago.
This is real. I want y'all to listen to this.
Think about when we hear of a police officer shooting a black boy. We rightly protest, Black Lives Matter. But no one even thinks of saying, boys' lives matter. The boy and black boy were invisible too. Black boys, the boy part of black boy doesn't matter because historically we've been dependent upon boys dying in order for us to live. We bribe them by social bribes calling them heroes, telling them they'll have glory if they die on our behalf. So our first issue is if our very survival has been dependent upon our son's willingness to die, being sensitive to their death competes with our survival instinct.
So now, you gentlemen have heard that. What do you think about that? What the funk? Or 100 watts, whichever one of you guys want to take that one first.
You want to rock, paper, scissors, see who goes first?
Right.
All right, I'll jump. All right. The Tupac Archetype. A lot of times, growing up in that time, it was a code that was trying to be instilled in the youth about, your soldiers, be ready to die for, for your community, be ready to die for your principles. And it was an image that was sold to us that was BS. It was something that was kind of placed in us through white supremacy, through the people who run the music labels. And it's been an archetype that's been pushed on an entire agenda, an entire community, where not just with death, but a lot of black boys even felt they had to go to prison to have that honor. Instead of walking away from a fight, or instead of turning the other cheek, or instead of thinking long-term that your journey is way more important than the pride of that moment. I think a lot of us have grown up with enough people where we are taught to be willing to die for your principles. And if you really think about that, your ancestors your bloodline goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And if you die before you procreate, you are like one of the kind. Like your grandparents went through a bunch of struggles to create your parents. Your grandparents went through a whole lot of struggles to create them. And then here we are in our community dying before we procreate, ending a whole lineage. That's nothing but bad karma and bad alchemy. And yet that's what's being pushed onto us.
I think that based on history, I'm not going to say that there's not a different way for the future, but based on history, any noble cause, any righteous cause, or I'm not sure how you want to classify it, anything that was placed in a way for people to grow or to succeed or to get out of shackles of someone else, there's an element of collateral damage. Some people may die. Some people may, become harmed or anything of this sort, right? Because when you're looking at trying to change a power shift, right? So let's say, white versus black people, right? So if there's sort of a power shift that has to happen, right? There has to be less power on one side to give more power to the other side for us to become equal. Now, the side that doesn't want to relinquish that power, they're going to push back. They're going to do things that may end up taking someone's life or harming someone or someone of that sort. So because of that, that's, I think, where you get the idea of heroes. Now, in the, like they said, the Tupac archetype, right? In that we got to be ready to die for our cause. It's some sort of reality that's attached to that, right? Because there's a sense to where there's a sense to where black people um have to do certain things. Like when the Black Panthers would arm up and they would walk around neighborhoods and they would protect their neighborhoods. You have to have some element of being willing to die if you're actually willing to die for those principles. If you're really willing to actually live by those principles, you must be ready to die. Pretty much. So it's like a cause action. It's just one of those things. Like sometimes heroes come from doing things that are formed in growth.
That would make perfect sense if we were fighting a war against white supremacy. But in these situations, most of our black boys are dying from the hands of other black people in that community.
Now, here's definitely where I do agree with you. You said there was a false narrative, like dying, the false narrative that was pressed, like we were pretty much tricked, right?
Mhm.
Because the war that we were fighting was wrong. Our attention was being directed in the wrong way. If those same principles were in place for us to be doing something for it to actually benefit us, then it would have been noble. But because we were tricked, now everybody just looks stupid.
Yes. And soldiers fighting a stupid war.
So yeah, like I mean,
Put it like this, right? They got this cool little phrase that Drake brought to the forefront, did not create, brought to the forefront, called YOLO. You only live once. And it's a very cool saying. Catchy. But the idea is that, how they say, carpe diem, seize the day. You only get this one. You don't know when it's going to be your last one, so why not live it like it is? And I think that attitude has permeated this generation of youth, which is not wrong to want to live to the fullest, but there's a saying, and it'll be funny when I tell you where I heard it from, but it's a saying. They say, never carry fearless and reckless in the same pocket. And the idea is that the fearlessness would be attributed to the courageousness or the hero or being willing to die for that thing. But the recklessness is being willing to die for anything. So there's a level of scrutiny that has to be added, and it kind of goes back to what you said, Chef. If there was something that I wish somebody would have told me young, after you finish finding what you're willing to die for, find something you're willing to live for, and allow that to drive you.
That's the same thing.
No.
So I mean, and here's what I'm asking, because what if someone said that I'm willing to die for my kids, but I also live for my kids? Because that's something that I feel like I live, but I would die for my children I'm not gonna just die just because it's a Wednesday and somebody at Walmart tripping, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's a stupid reason to die for your kids. But if it's actually to protect your children, right, you would be willing to die for your children. But at the same time, those faces are the same thing that motivates you when you get to work and be like, man, I swear to God, if this manager come in here one more time and say something else, I'm gonna fire off on her. You know what? I can't, because baby recital next week. I still got, you know what I'm saying? The kids sometimes are what keeps you going through that, all of that. So you willing to live and die for them.
The thing is, I see where the irony of the situation is, because it's like, yo, those are my seeds. I'm willing to die for them, you know. But by the same token, if I know that and feel that I am the best thing, the best man, the number one individual male on the planet that is just for them, I would have to want to live for them with the same degree of enthusiasm. You get what I'm saying? Because if I'm gone, they're just going to be here and they won't have me anyway. So it's always, I think, like a spectrum of understanding when it comes to that. But before we even go to the next, there was a debate. We called it the Fatherhood Cognac Ship, but one of the things was like, oh, is it really all going to be men? We understand the way society is. We understand that there's brothers that are there. We also understand that, there's sisters that are there handling the business when some brothers are not there, and they have sons as well. And I feel important for us to include one of our flowers. She's kind of new to our channel, but not to the family. I met her through one of the E-Black shows, and she was really spicy on our brainstorming episode. So I wanted to bring up Sister Andrea Lynch. What it do, Andrea?
You're
Andrea.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm feeling under the weather, so that's why I'm not on camera. Okay, so I'm feeling a little under the weather, but I wanted to come back because I like y'all show and I had a good time, and I told all my YouTube friends to check out y'all channel, okay? Because I said I had a good time over there on your channel.
That's what's up. Hey, Chef. Before we go on, I wanted to ask why. So it wasn't really a pushback, but I want you to respond to this. Why? Donique Anthony wrote, "Pick something you love and let it kill you." How do you respond to that? In comparison to what you
pick
said
something you love and let it kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about marriage?
That is
that's different, Chef. That's pick someone you love and let them kill you.
But that's a true statement. Anything that you grow attachment to, anything that you grow favored to, can be used against you. That's anything, right? If someone finds a way for you to no longer be able to access water, that's going to affect you. You have an attachment to that because you need that to survive. If someone finds a way to take away your ability to get to your children, that's going to affect you. If someone takes your ability away to make money, that's going to affect you. Like anything that you're attached to, it can be used against you.
So does fatherhood, in essence, make us vulnerable?
Very much so.
Very
much so. It makes you 100% vulnerable because I don't. Maybe it's my anxiety or my PTSD or something. I don't know. But when I'm out in public, like in this holiday weekend, going out to the store with all of my kids with me, that was the most anxious I have been in a very long time. Because it's like, all right, I got to keep track of all of them. I turn my head, I don't see one. All right, hold on, wait, where'd you go? Come here. All right, I need you to hold my hand. Wait a minute, hold on. Like not knowing if somebody's trying to pick the kids. It's very vulnerable. That's the most anxious I've been in a very long time.
Okay. So now I just want to make sure you guys remember the first question that we asked, since Andrea jumped in. The first question that we asked is, if there was something that you wish, I'm trying to get used to talking, like, if there was something that you wish you would have learned previously that would have put your life in a better trajectory at this point, right? So my next question is there something specifically that your father, if he was in your life, if your dad was not in your life, whoever, your uncle, the most important male figure within your life, pop, grandpa, whatever, is there something that you wish that they would have schooled you on, that they themselves would have schooled you on, that you think would have made your life much easier as a man in terms of you flowing through your life? And say if you had listened to them. I'm gonna let the flower go first, because you're a mother of. Tell them how many sons you have and give them their ages, please. Let them know about you, Andrea.
Okay, I have two sons. My son, I have a son. He's 23 years old. He's African American, and then I have a son I adopted. He's 7 years old, and he's Mexican. And so, my son. And when somebody said,
"Pause," blessings to you for not just doing what you do with your own, but reaching out into the community, regardless of community, to love and feed another child. So
Yeah, I've been a foster mom for like 20 years. I've been a foster mom, but I just don't. I adopted him and his sister, so I have 4 kids. I have 2 girls and 2 boys.
nice. Okay. Now
So
hear that, folks. So you get to talk. Go ahead.
okay, so when y'all said about I does do tell my son who's 23 years old and he's black. I don't fear the cops. I fear him being killed by another black boy just like him. Okay, so that is and I tell his father too, watch out for the people who ain't got nothing to live for. Watch out for people who ain't is doing stupid shit. Watch out for people who ain't got your back. Okay, because they'll just do stupid stuff. So him being 23, no babies, no criminal record, and they ain't never been in trouble with the law, I'm damn proud of that. And that's the work ethic because of me and his father. And when he moved in with his father at 13 years old. So that was important to me when I had him. That was the blessing that we gave him. It was 3 things we didn't want him to do: graduate from high school, not have no babies, and then not be involved in the criminal record and get a criminal or be in anybody's prison. And so at 23 years old, I am damn proud that he don't got none of that, because I see a lot of my black brothers are got the felony on their records and can't get a good job and support their families.
All right.
Once you get that felony at 16, you can never leave the country.
Yeah.
Once
You can't get a passport. Yes. And so, and now that I'm still raising a brown boy at 7 years old, and them the things I tell him to watch out to. And I can't tell him as I talk to my 23-year-old son, but I can tell him how to navigate through the world and navigate how to be a young man in the United States.
All right. So with the fun, so
yes.
You tell me, what do you wish your father figure had taught you that if you put in action would have put you in a better place now?
You mean
being
me?
completely honest?
Oh no, what the fun?
If I'm being completely honest, my father was not really involved, and because I was by a college campus, I was constantly reading books, and because of that, I can't imagine my situation being better than what it is. I had multiple father figures in literature and thought process, and I was able to apply that with college age mentors at the same, and ask them and bounce questions off. I know a lot of women think like, oh, father figures are a good substitute, and I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I would say that if the father is not involved, you need to have that child in literature, not so much consuming what television is and what the masses of his peer group are entertaining. Like I said, I think, I had uncles, I had a pawpaw, but as far as like the father role, I have no code or anything inside of me that's like, when I'm going through a hardship, like, well, my father told me this, so I can apply that to get through absolutely zero. But I have multiple things that I've read. And I was going to say for the sister, I didn't quite know that this was going to be the topic. So what I did is I prepared 4 kind of books for certain age brackets. So for the age 7, I thoroughly recommend for a child at that age to be reading.
Wait. This is the educational. No. So, because I know you were coming, I should have kind of gave you a hint. Your part where you actually are going to shine is in terms of the educational, because we broke it down into literacy, mm-hmm. Folks.
Yes.
Literacy.
The Choose Your Own Adventure books, I think, are very instrumental for a 7-year-old to be reading, because it teaches them how that one path that they read that led to the wrong path. That plants a seed to know that at an early age, even though there's 2 options that might be seemingly good options, one of those options will lead you down a path where you have to start the whole book over again. And I think at an early age, if you kind of teach them that, it really will plant the seed of them understanding that When you have two options, you need to make sure that you really analyze it and take a step back before you make your move.
Okay. So remember, y'all, emotional literacy, financial literacy, educational literacy, situational literacy, and then there's going to be one at the end. So right now where we are is the emotional literacy portion. All right. I was advised that there's been more people that popped into the room. So I'm going to give you one more run at this so that folks understand what it is we're discussing and why. Our boys are dying out here. For what? The question becomes, are we causing it? Is it something that we create that undergirds their manhood, that almost makes them feel that I got to die for this shit? Let's talk about it. Because, we lose them, we're devastated. So are we doing it? Let's see.
Think about when we hear of a police officer shooting a black boy. We rightly protest, Black Lives Matter. But no one even thinks of saying, boys' lives matter. The boy and black boy were invisible too. The boy part of black boy doesn't matter because historically we've been dependent upon boys dying in order for us to live. We bribe them by social bribes calling them heroes, telling them they'll have glory if they die on our behalf. So our first issue is, if our very survival has been dependent upon our sons' willingness to die, being sensitive to their death competes with our survival instinct.
Can I tell you what I heard? That's the third time you played that.
There's a reason. Each time you hear it, there's something else that smacks you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
It would just grab me right now. It's not necessarily being a hero, it's who you're being a hero for, right? Because if you're talking about, because if you're talking about young boys dying, you're talking about young boys dying to rep 21st Street. You see what I'm saying? You're talking about young boys dying to rep so-and-so gang or such and such clique. That's who they're heroes for. That's where the problem comes into play. That's just what I picked up just now listening to what he just said.
And can I say something?
Of course you can.
What about the? Okay, so I was raised with a father. Okay, so it's some lessons that he taught me as his daughter and as a mother myself. I think as a young mother of a black boy, he ain't the man of the house yet. Let him be the boy of the house, and don't have him take so much responsibility of trying to be the man of the house. I told my son he is the son of the house, but he ain't the man of the house, because it's my house. I think when you give young boys a purpose, he don't have to take over the responsibility of, because his dad's not there no more. And I think I know people gonna get mad when I say this. And I know it's gonna be wrong, but this is what I learned. If you don't take your son around a bunch of criminals and take him to him around a drug dealer and thinking the pimps are cool and stuff like that, take your son around a police officer, a correctional officer, somebody who's doing well in the community, I think you're gonna get a different result. And if you think you're gonna bring the pimps and the drug dealers in your house and think that's gonna be okay with your kids, and your kids see that lifestyle, they gonna think that lifestyle is okay. And the reason we kept my son out the streets and out the corners is because he was in sports. He didn't have time to be on the corner because he had a football game to go to. So I'm just saying, as young mothers, you got to keep your son away from that stuff if you know it ain't good.
That's so logical. Do you actually get pushback from people when you said people will get mad?
Well, I mean, my community community don't get mad. My community that I have that it's my team. My team don't get mad because we all got them goals in mind because we was all raised with fathers in our house. But some of them single mamas who ain't got a father, who ain't had no father, they do get mad because I'm just saying. The drug dealer ain't gonna be nobody. My daddy said he gonna die by the gun. He gonna go to jail. Which one you gonna want? The graveyard or the jailhouse? So I learned on some at an early age, and I learned at 7 and 8 years old. My dad took me to work with him when I got out of school. After school, I got 4 brothers and 7 kids in my house. After school, we worked with our dads. So I learned a work ethic from him too. But my son, when he turned 6 years old, he was in every sport I could find because I didn't want him to die in no damn streets and no sitting around and watching no damn video games, sitting around doing nothing. I don't mind, mother. I don't mind.
But you let him play Sonic, right? I mean, that's very instrumental to the upbringing of a black boy. The Sonic and Knuckles.
He had an Xbox. No, he had an Xbox. I didn't have a problem with the Xbox, but when I realized that he running around here getting fat, okay, running around here just laying around playing Xbox, I said, "Oh no." Put some football, and that's where he met his friends at, and he met some good coaches too. So if your son don't have a father in the house, that's where some good black men that I met in the community that I hung out with, that I knew about, put them in something for that. But I'm just saying, when you hang around the drug dealers and the prostitutes, the kids gonna think that stuff is normal. It's not normal. It's not normal to be gunshots every day. It's not normal to sell drugs. It's not normal to go to prison. It's not, and black folks it irks my nerves that black folks celebrate when a man is coming home. He been in prison for how many years?
Free little whoop-de whoop.
Not little whoop-de whoop. Little whoop-de whoop need to stay in.
Little Ray J, he been in prison for how many years, and we celebrate that, and that irks my nerves. It's like, I tell my sisters, are we having this? Are we really doing this?
Watch this pivot right here. Speaking of irking your nerves, some folks, what would you say to those folks that say that a woman raising men create emotional men?
No.
What would you say to those people? I didn't say I'm saying that. I'm saying, you see the pivot, and you was like, you're getting emotional. I said, speaking of emotional, tell me, what would you say to those people that say a woman raising men, child, by themselves create emotional men or over emotional men? What do you think about that?
I think a child needs a balance in his life. Okay, my son had me until he was 10 years old, but at 10 years old, he was trying to raise up. He need that man now, because that man gonna say, what's up? Now I'm his mother, and honey, I play for we tackle and all that, but he need that man to say, what's up? That speak one word to him, and he know how to move.
Mm-hmm.
He need that man when he ready to raise up. The daddy gonna say, what's up? A man needs that. He needs both. He needs my son. He's both. He got the emotional like me, and he got his daddy. He will raise up. And sometimes I'm like, look, I'm still the mama around here, and he's a man, and he gonna say, "Mama, I'm grown now too," and I have to remember that. But a boy needs both. I think he needs the emotional part till he's like 10. And then when he gets like 11 to 12, 13, and that daddy needs to be right there, because that daddy's going to teach him how to be a man. Period.
Okay. I like that. So if I'm understanding what you're saying, right, correctly, what you're saying is then, yes, if a woman raises a son all by herself without the assistance of that father figure, then potentially, because you said that you would give the emotion, 10, 11, 12, and then from there, the man would instill that man dad stuff. So basically, it sounds like to me is that if the woman was doing it all by herself, there's a higher chance that the boy would be emotional.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, I could take that.
I mean, we kill each other over emotion. I mean, let's look at the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I'll bump into you and have a problem, and then all of a sudden my emotions are so high, I end your legacy. I take you away from your children. I take you away from your family over bullshit. Let's keep it 100. A lot of our men have testosterone and masculinity, but they have feminine mentality where they get offended. Women get angry, and I remember how women used to get angry in the 90s, and it was bicker, bicker, bicker. And then I started to see that men were starting to do the exact same things, but those bicker, bicker, bicker was leading to death. Me and Chef, we could have a fight, and after about, not a fight, but an argument, after about 3 back and forth, it's like, yo, you want to throw hands? What's up? And it's not going to lead to death. And that's how we kind of grew up in the 90s. It was like we could have throw hands, and we could actually probably end up being cool afterwards. But as time has gone over and over and over again, the emotionalist, like, as soon as there's a problem, it's ready to throw fisticuffs. There's not even a dialogue back and forth. And if I win that fight, then you have to come back because your pride's been hurt and end my life. Or you have to come back and try to get some people and try to jump me. This whole thing is backwards. There's no.
I want to offer a little bit of pushback to you, What the Funk. I don't think that's how you meant it, but I notice we're doing a lot when we're speaking about gender roles and men and women and relationships, and we refer to a lot of things that will be considered negative as feminine. When we refer to a man doing something that would be more expected from a woman, you said that he's attributing a feminine action, when in all actuality he's using an immature action, and a woman doing it is also immature, which is why I personally think we have a lack of accountability, because you say, hey, a woman's supposed to do that. A woman's supposed to bicker and back and forth. And I don't think that should be attributed to all women that way. I think we need to isolate that negative action and say that, hey, that is an immature way to socially interact with people, male or female. What do you say about that?
You want me to make sure that I'm placing the correct gender role on an action. Is that correct?
I'm saying that as opposed to saying that that's feminine. That's not feminine. That's immature. So the statement itself is inaccurate, because that just assumes that women always act like this, and there's a lot of women who don't act like that.
So,
and I think
that means
I don't think it was your intention.
Traits for a man.
Say again?
I can't use the term feminine traits for a man because it should be more, I should say, immaturity. Is that what you were saying?
Right, because I don't think that trait in particular is attributed to women as opposed to it's attributed to immature people.
I think generally it is, like being emotional, being overreactive. I think those are generally attached in any conversation on any platform you go to. Those two in particular are generally referred to as feminine things. So like for example, when we sit here on these platforms and it's men going back and forth, that's just not man shit. This just isn't man shit. This is just some, you know what I'm saying? Like I think that is commonly referred to as a female trait, because men are supposed to be more.
What I'm saying is we've accepted that in conversation, but I don't think it's accurate, and I don't even think we notice we've done it. And because the ladies have been so quiet about it, that we just keep walking over that same spot. And I'm saying, hey, guys, you see that spot? That's all I'm doing is, hey, I'm bringing it to the forefront to be fair, not because I'm some feminist or something. I'm just trying to say that if you said, if the ladies were saying that rage or anger was attributed to men, I'd be like, no.
I mean, but based on the, but honestly, based on the question, because he said, wouldn't men become more emotional if they were raised by their mothers? So they're picking up traits by the female they were raised by. So in turn, that would sometimes make the, like he said, a feminine trait. Would that not be this? Would that not? I
don't want to derail the conversation, but I think y'all felt where I was going with that. Now I wanted to ask Andrea one quick question.
Sure.
You said,
wait, you want to drop a dynamite mic or whatever?
no. Hey, look, y'all. I didn't want to like spin it all the way off. I thought y'all be feeling me more than that. We can make a whole nother conversation about that.
Transition after you already started the conversation. So
Hey,
let's finish the
hang on,
conversation.
Miss Andrea. Hang on, Miss
Not
Andrea.
finish it up.
What you wanted to say about it, Funk? Say what you want to say, Funk.
I'll say what. I've worked in restaurants my entire life, and I've seen men have feminine arguments about absolutely nothing, and they look like little children, girls having, and women like to hold the fact that they are emotional and they're passionate, and men are like to hold on to the fact that they're logical. That is the nature of man and woman. But what has happened in the last 50 years is that a lot of the men now have become super emotional, and those things are leading to our demise. Yes or no?
Men being emotional is leading to our demise.
Yes, I
More,
just gave you a scenario.
more emotion and less logic.
In some cases, I believe that. In some cases, I believe like if you step on his toe, he gonna have a hissy fit, and that's what a woman does. Step on his shoe in the club, he having a hissy fit. He ready to shoot you. What's wrong with that picture?
He looked at me the wrong way. Why is he looking at me like
is
that?
hyper emotional. You know what I mean? That's someone who's taking any emotion too far, whether it's happiness,
Did he see his
sadness,
mama? Did he see
I
his
do
mama
get what you're
act like
saying.
that? Did he see his mama act like that? I'm just asking the question. Did he see his mama? Did he hear his mama say she was in the club and the woman stepped on her shoe, threw a drink at her? Now she ready to fight too? Come on now. He's got
No. He could have just as easily seen his older brother, his daddy do the same
Yeah.
shit. So it's not.
I understand what he's
specific.
saying.
It's not specific. We're seeing a whole bunch of bad examples, and I can give a shit who's doing it. It's a bunch of bad examples being set by a bunch of emotionally immature people who ain't getting a lot of guidance and who don't even know what they're doing is emotionally immature. They think that they're justified. They think that they're the heroes in the situations that they're in. Let me shed a little bit of light on the situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I moved to Atlanta, right,
Mm-hmm.
I was always raised to think about what I did before I did it.
Mm-hmm.
But in Atlanta, they got a little known rule for people who don't know called swing first. That is the standard. So all of that thinking about what's coming next, that will be the reason why you don't make it home. So people are prone and touted and celebrated for the man who can make a decision for his entire life the quickest.
Okay, but when you say Atlanta says don't swing first, well, what you're saying is if you swing,
swing first. Do swing first.
Yes, swing first. But do you know that person might go home and get a gun and come back and shoot your brains out? I'm just asking the question.
It's not about the results because we're not taking. My point I'm making is that we're not taking the time to think about the results, and it's a survival mechanism. You understand what I'm saying? The man who makes the best move.
Pointless for where the flow of the conversation was going. I don't understand the point that you felt that you need to make sure that you shed light on. Well, let's not make it a masculine or feminine thing. What was I was
showing you that
you're trying to accomplish with your.
I'm going to clear it up for you. I'm going to clear it up for you. I'm going to clear it up for you. I'm going to tie it all in. So the reason that I'm bringing that up is because I didn't understand that it was emotionally immature. I thought I was lacking. I thought I was weak for thinking too long. You understand what I'm saying? Well, if you think too long, you're considered weak. You understand what I'm saying? So it's your perception, and that world you're living in creates that perception. So if everybody over here think you weak if you don't gangbang, everybody over here is thinking you weak if you falling in love with a girl or you getting all married and lovey-dovey and holding hands, that's lame, that's weak. They're creating that reality for you for all of these things. You see what I'm saying? So their perception is not that these things are wrong. You see what I'm saying? So they are emotionally immature because of how that came down, and it wouldn't have mattered where they were getting the inspiration from, male or female.
I can say that the reason I understand what Vic is saying is because the fact that I am raising 2 girls and 1 boy, it's helping me understand that, and especially when it comes to emotion, it doesn't matter which one of my children I'm talking to. The logic is the same because I don't need my daughter in the club throwing drinks on somebody, you know what I'm saying, and arguing with some chick in the club. The same way I don't need my son doing that. I don't need my son pulling a gun on somebody because he feels like his manhood is being attacked. The same way I don't need my daughter pulling a razor on somebody because they was talking about her weave. You see what I'm saying? Like the emotion and the logic needs to be the same for both of them, rather male or female. That's why I can understand what Vic is saying.
Yep. Can I say something to that? But at the same time, is my son is calm, cool, and collected. My daughter is a hothead. So I'm sick. So what I'm saying is, if my son, who's calm, cool, and collected, ain't gonna pull a gun out, my hothead daughter might do it.
And I got you. And my youngest, and she's a hothead too. She's the most. I call her my most expressive child. She is. She's ready to flip at anything. Yeah. And that's what, again, even though just because she's a female, don't mean that I get to let her just sit in them emotions. You need to process this the same way your brother does. Sit down and process your emotions. Don't think just because you feel a certain type of like when I take her cup from her, when she doesn't say thank you, when I take her cup from her, first thing she does is she opens her eyes, opens her mouth, starts screaming, and hopes that a tear comes out because she thinks crying is going to get what she wants. You're not processing your emotions the right way. The same boy or girl, you need to process your emotions the same. Hothead, not hothead, either way, you can't be out here acting crazy because y'all are all representing the same last name.
Yes.
So to make sure we come back to the same thing, because there was a reason that I brought that question up. So just to say, just so I understand the consensus, because I did get Andrea's consensus. And it's not talking about negative versus positive. And we're not talking about, I didn't use anything related to femininity. I was just speaking in terms of women raising men without men being there in pocket, if those men would be more emotional. So just to make sure I know, Andrea say yes, right? What the funk? Was that a yes or a no for you?
Sorry, if you're in the club and somebody steps on your big ass hard toe and your homeboys are looking at you like you're not going to do anything about it, even though that individual apologized repeatedly, no, I'm not going to do anything about it because it's an accident. Why am I offended that he stepped on my foot by accident? And my homeboys are looking at me to do something? Then that means they're not good homeboys.
Thank you.
That means I have the wrong circle. That means I have demons around me.
Agreed.
I need to have people who are around me who actually understand that this whole life is a journey. And I'm not going to put myself in a situation because somebody made a mistake and accidentally stepped on something that's not valuable to my life. It's just a pair of shoes.
Okay. And for you, 100 watts?
I'm going to say no because I did watch my mother raise 3 sons and all of us was dogs. So
I feel you, but hey, I'm gonna say it like this. I think emotional people raise emotional people, and if I know some women who are some straight dogs themselves, and that's what they raise. Nothing but some hard boys, ice cold.
Well, because my oldest two, their mother, she got a mean right hook. I've seen it in real life.
So I wouldn't isolate that, and that would be a case by case. But if you want to say in general, do women in the state that they're in currently, I guess I don't know enough women to say I know the majority, but of what I've seen, yes.
You can't judge the culture because, sir, you can look at the state of our culture and
I said what I said.
You can't.
What was your question again? What the funk? I'm sorry. I
said he said I don't know majority. He said I don't know majority of women. I said you can't look at the culture and make a generalization because you don't. No one knows the majority of all women. Nobody knows the majority of. So, but you still can make a generalization because
So if you didn't know all of the facts to a
Sir,
case
name
which you
one
try to make it
person
a
who knows the
I
majority
would
of
like to
women.
finish my statement. I would like to finish my statement.
You can't.
If
There's
you
no
didn't,
one
can I
person
say,
who knows
hey,
the majority of
bro,
women.
hey, this grown man shit right here, this the man
Let's
episode.
do, bro, man. Let's have a
Okay,
conversation.
so grown men
There's
let
one
man. Hey,
person
listen,
that knows the majority of something.
didn't you ask me a question?
Yes.
Okay, then let me answer you. You cool with that?
Go ahead.
Now, you says, can I make a generalization? So the question would be, hey, Vic, are you the kind of dude who makes generalizations? Nah,
That
not
wasn't
really.
my question, sir. My question
I'm
is
answering my question.
you.
Whoa, relax,
telling
bro.
me-
This is a grown man you talking to. I don't need no help.
I'm
Drive.
talking to.
So let me
I asked
drive
you a
my
question.
car and you drive yours. So would you wait for the full statement and then you'll see how it ties into what you're asking me?
Sir, you should be able to get from point A to point B fairly quickly.
Yo, don't tell me how to do it. Just do you. That's why I'm over here doing me. That's
Let's
why you
let
got a
him-
box. Do it in your
Again,
box.
you derailed this conversation.
Let us let come. Remember, folks. Remember what we're doing right here. So let's let what the fun let land, and then from there, if you have something with it, then after that,
For instance,
let
there's no emotion being contained inside of this box. These are just hard words, hard drawn lines. Right? So what I'm saying to you is that to make a generalization that's like saying make an educated guess. It calculates a degree of inaccuracy. So I don't like to make that a standard for what I do and to use it as if I know what the hell I'm talking about. So because there's however many million black people here in America, and I don't know a tenth of them, it's hard for me to say how they all do, even in a generalization. Now, I can say my experience. I can tell you all about my experience amongst the black people that I've met, the black women that I've met. But for me to do that based on what I see on TV or some stats from some people that I've never even seen come by, take them, and they never talked to none of the black women I know, that would be foolish of me to think I know how black women do, in my opinion. So I don't judge you for being able to make a generalization, but that ain't really how I roll. So I'm very careful how I parse my words. Do you understand now?
I understand you.
Okay.
Now, can anyone know the majority of black women in America? Anyone?
It'll be a hard task.
I'm sorry, say it again.
It would be a hard task to know 51%
Yes or no?
of anybody. I said it would be hard.
Yes or no, sir?
Okay, bro. You answer the question how you want to answer it, because I gave you my answer. I don't think it would be easily
Parse your
done
words
task.
very strangely when it's just a simple yes or no question.
You wanted me to say if it's impossible, bro. You want me to answer a question I don't know. I don't know is always the acceptable answer for me.
You don't know that it's impossible to know the majority of black women in America?
Just make your point, man.
Again,
You don't need me to say yes or no to make your point. How about
you
yes?
started
Yes,
this
I'm going to say
conversation.
yes. I want you to go on with your point. Yes.
Okay, you can? All right, then. Who? You said yes, they can. Who? Who knows the majority of black women in America? Who?
I don't know.
You just said yes, sir.
I said I don't know, is what I said. You asked me, is this possible? I said yes.
Okay, who?
You asked now. That's a question insinuating someone's done it that I know personally, and I said I don't know initially because I don't know anybody done it. And I said it would be a hard task to do. So that insinuates that I don't know anybody who's done that. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. But for the sake of conversation, let's humor you. Let's say no. It's completely impossible to know half of the population of anything. Let's just say no. Now make your point, because you were leading
now
me
you can
somewhere.
make a generalization on the culture and what you have seen and what you have seen in different cities. You can have conversations with different people and make a generalization. You can talk about in Atlanta, we have a code where we swing first. Sir, that's a code in most all our communities. We don't have a kung fu in the black community. We're the kings of sucker punching. We're the kings of bomb first. Is that a generalization, or is that pretty much the reality of our culture?
See, if I talk to someone from California and I talked to someone from New York and Little Rock and Chicago, and we all had similar stories, and we all of those things rang true, then I could assume and make that generalization based on my anecdotal experience that this is how it is in at least these particular hoods. You can go to jail and have a great experience, and I can go through and go through hell in the same place.
Go to jail and have a great experience?
Actually, it's possible if you didn't know. But what I'm saying is that people have different experiences inside of the same location. So to make that generalization, just like two children can grow up in the same household with the exact same parenting and come out two exact different people, one going in the positive direction and one going in the negative one with the exact same environmental. So no, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is what I know of what people have told me. And sure, I can make a synopsis, but it's not based in nothing.
People know because what they've told you, then that means you lack creative thinking. You lack problem solving because all you do is just respond to what people have told you.
Okay, let's do this, right? What you're doing, right, is critiquing my ability to process thoughts.
You
right?
were critiquing how we
wait a minute. Show respect. All I'm saying is that that's fine, and we can do that on another show. But this one is about some real powerful shit, and I don't want to get caught in the weeds. I don't even have a problem. I don't have a problem. No, you've actually just second guessed everything I've said thus far, and it's cool. But let's do that on another show. This ain't about that. It ain't about me. I ain't making a show about me. It ain't about you. So pull up.
Then
Okay.
what was the point
let's let the conversation roll.
Ask me the question you wanted to ask me, Vic. Vic, ask me the question you wanted to ask me.
The question I was going to ask you is, I just wanted to understand the thought or the thoughts behind the people who were saying that, or you said that. When someone comes home, they celebrate it, and you thought that was. What was your thoughts on people celebrating?
My thought process. Let me give you some backstory, Vic. So I want you to understand where I'm coming from. And I'm from California, okay? My daddy, mama, born and raised in North Carolina, okay? So I got an uncle who did 20 years in prison for drug dealing, and my cousin the same way. And so what I'm saying is, how can I be a good mother to my black son if I think it's gonna be okay for them celebrating my cousin coming home from jail for 20 years and selling drugs to the black community? I can't, I'm being a hypocrite then because I can't celebrate him and tell my son don't do the same thing.
Okay, so what you're saying is, why celebrate a criminal?
Yes.
Okay. Because everybody coming home isn't coming home the way that they went in, or vice versa.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think that thought process may be different, but I understand from your perspective.
I'm gonna tell you my thought process. Going to prison one time, I get that. But going multiple times, I say hell to the damn no. For the same damn thing, I got a problem with that. Because that means it ain't been teaching you shit. So that's my thought process. And that comes from a daughter who's been raised from a daddy. Okay. And he thinks that's asinine. That is my thought process. And so I had to literally cut my favorite cousin off because he kept going back and forth to jail, and I was raising my black son, and he would see me send my cousin money and wipe my cousin, and finally I had to cut him off because I said, look, I'm gonna be a hypocrite if I tell my son stay out of jail. If I tell my son you go to jail, we ain't fucking with you, we ain't messing with you. How can I just keep sending my cousin money? How can I keep sending writing my cousin? I'm being a hypocrite to my son, trying to keep him right on the right path.
So you believe that isolation?
I believe is I told my favorite cousin, you go back to jail on me. Don't call your cousin who always bailing your gambling debts out, always sending you money. Come on now, get it together.
Andrea, YZP wants to know, he said missing context. He wanted to know, is he a changed man now?
My cousin or my uncle? Which one?
Which one? I don't want to know.
My uncle got back out of jail. My uncle got back out of jail and started doing the same damn thing he went in for. So what changed?
Andrea, I think what you're speaking to is somebody called an enabler somebody who is allowing a person to continue to harm them or themselves.
No. I you know what? That was my favorite cousin. That was my aunt's son. Okay, my mama's sister. I had to cuss my auntie out and tell her I ain't mess with her son again because she thought I was wrong for telling him I'm not helping him no more. She thought I was wrong for cutting him off. And I'm saying is, do you see your son in jail? I want mine to be in that.
Okay.
So
I understand where you're coming from.
Hold a minute. I think in the black community, us mamas sometimes thinking if our sons, they think, oh, we gonna pray it over him. He gonna get better. No, he not. He just ain't gonna get better. He keep going back to jail. What do you say to that? It's time to cut these sons off.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And look, I told you.
It's easy to say from this side of the wall, you know.
I come from a hardcore mama and daddy. So if they cut me off and they told me sink or swim, I know how to swim.
For sure.
And I look, my daughter asked to move back home. I said, hell no. Okay? No. Grown is grown. Let's do this. Okay. Sometimes you gotta have a little tough love. Sometimes you gotta tell your sisters and your brothers and your kids the truth. And when we keep pacifying them, this is the result we gonna get. And my auntie told me today, if my cousin right now said, cuz, thank you. If you would have never cut me off, I might not have changed my life. He out of prison right now. He done been home 6 months. And do you think he have called me every day? So I cut him off. No money. I ain't talking to you. And he calls me every day. And he have changed his life around.
When your twins show up. When your twins show up.
Go ahead, Chef.
Right?
I think I understand a lot of what you're saying. There's a small part of me that's understanding what Vic is already like, because what about the people that do reform, right? There are people that do reform. Just give me 1 second. I got you. So what about the people that do reform, right? Because those people do exist. And then there is a small group, there is a group of people that do go and need that support to get through. Like they can't just, you can't just cut them off.
And I agree with you said, but let me tell you something. Okay, I did have a boyfriend who went to prison. Okay, so I know I'm on both sides of the fences. Okay, and when I was there as a church girl who was a good girl in life. Okay, and when I was there, I was looking at the women. I was having conversation with the women, and I was like thinking in my life, like, why the hell are we doing this? And I was thinking like, this shit is getting old. They've been doing this back and forth. And don't you know when you go to the prison, because I don't think all y'all know this, when you go visit people in the prison, they make you feel like you the prison with your damn self. Okay? I went to visit my cousin, in North Carolina, over there in that federal prison, and my luggage got lost. I had to go to the Dollar General in North Carolina, buy me some tan pants. For what? Because we go to the federal prison? Like that shit is annoying to me.
Andrea.
Yeah.
I feel like based on how passionate you are about this.
Yes.
I feel like you feel like you've been inconvenienced to a large extent by somebody who was inconsiderate to how what their actions were doing were affecting you.
No, it was inconvenience.
Do you think that?
No, I live in California. It don't affect me, but who it affects is my aunts, my cousins. Okay, they go down there and sit down there every Sunday. I was just a pastor coming in visiting the family members, and since I was coming to the family reunion, let me go on down here and visit my cousin while he in prison. No, but I have watched other women when I did visit that boyfriend in jail for that dumb year that I waste my time doing. I have watched other women have conversation with them and go into the prison. And I'm saying to my sisters, I don't really care how I have my best friend, but I'm telling my sisters, if he go in there more than multiple times, sister, don't you know he ain't gonna change? Now, I understand reform, I understand rehabilitation, and I understand men trying to get themselves together. I'm with all of that. But my daddy did teach me, and my mama did teach me. How many times you gonna go and we gonna say it's all right?
I think there's a slight difference between jail and prison, because prison is usually dedicated for people who are going to be gone away for a long time, and usually people do change, even if it's for the worse.
I don't been in both.
So,
I don't been in both.
So what I'm getting at is, generally when people are celebrating someone coming home, they're not celebrating somebody coming home from the county jail. They celebrate somebody who's been gone for a long time. And being that these are legit loved ones, because I don't have that much passion for anybody that I don't love, be it hate or anything else, any emotion. I don't have that for them unless I have that initial love. That's an investment. So even if you're disappointed in that person, what they did, even if you're not sure if they're a better person when they're coming home, you're just glad to see that they're alive and they're out of the hands of the man in certain or uncertain death that hangs over their head on a daily basis. I don't want to see any of my loved ones, no matter how evil or fucked up they are, in that situation.
And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm not being judgy. I'm not even being judgy, but I'm gonna say this: too many of us Black sisters celebrate the men are doing wrong, and how we gonna? It's almost in a double standard. And I'm just being honest. How we gonna teach our sons to stay out of jail, stay out of prison, try to do the right thing, and try not to waste your time on causes that don't mean shit? If we're not saying, look, enough is enough. Going to prison is not okay. Going to prison is not a badge of honor. It's not cute.
Okay. All right. Woo. I love that passion, and I'm making sure I'm checking to see if I owe you any freaking money. All right, Andrea, I'll be sending.
Hell no, but here you go.
Listen, with interest. I don't want no problems, Flower. All right. Thank you for that passion. What I want to do real quick. Now, I do see somebody jumped in. I want to make sure we on curriculum. All right. We have Joanna Washington here. Joanna.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure before we get started, Flower, today is this is our Fatherhood Cognac Sip. So what we're doing is we're, speaking primarily to fathers or mothers that are raising sons alone about specific literacies that we would need to, instill within them. So I was just checking to see, are you a mom? You a mom of sons?
You on mute, Joanna.
Joanna, you on mute.
I wasn't sure. Greetings. I wasn't sure if my brother Chef was finished. I didn't want to interrupt and commentate on that beautiful voice, that immaculate voice, that masculine voice.
Thank you.
And all the other masculine voices on the panel. I just want to have to say that sister who was just speaking, brothers, it's real. I've come from a family. I've told you a little bit about my family, and someone in the chat or you all on the panel may say, well, that's anecdotal. However, research has been done. The studies are in. So-called Black people are the majority in these United States incarcerated. And they're not just incarcerated because of so-called white man. Because they're not just incarcerated because of the so-called white man, I can get with that sister's comments and feelings about we're done. We're done because, see, there's a narrative out there that says that we are a criminal element as a whole. And there's only 12 to 14% of us on this landmass. But there's a narrative that says that we are a criminal element. Now, some of that is true. You can research it. You can fact check it. Somebody who's got a computer, fact check me. Go to the Department of Justice, the United States Department of Justice. We so-called Black people commit 50% of the crime. Now, that's not all of the 14% of Black people. That's a minority of the Black people, which makes it worse. That means there's a few people, a few rotten apples that are doing a lot of the dirt. And my father has two brothers. He has three brothers, and two of them were incarcerated majority of their life. And I went to see them in prison. My own mother, God bless her, still alive. I love my mama. Like we all love our mamas, no matter what they do. That's my mama. But my mama did time, you know, and it got to a point where I didn't, you know, my grandfather, her father wanted to bring me to see her, and I went several occasions. But it got to a point where that was affecting me, you know, emotionally and psychologically. I didn't want to have to do that anymore. And then my father remarried, and I have a couple of brothers whom I love dearly. All three have been incarcerated. I got to a point where I told my father, I was like, look, I love them. Here's a little change to put on their books. But, you know, there's got to be a separation. There's got to be a standard, like Neely Fuller Jr. talks about. There's to be a code of conduct that we all just want to, you know, we all adhere to.
Okay.
That's it right there.
So just let me finish. Because I know there's going to be some pushback.
No.
But I just want to say I am with the sister.
Joanna.
Hold on, Chef. This is your whole show. Chef, this is your show for the next 8 hours. I got a few minutes. Just give me a little break.
Joanna, I got to stop you.
Chef, you know I respect you, Chef. Just grant me a couple of moments. You got the whole platform. Not only do you have the platform, Chef, not only do you have not only do you have the platform, but you have my wholehearted support.
Right.
So allow me these couple of minutes while you have the next 6 to 8 hours.
Joanna,
just let me say that I wholeheartedly agree with the sister that some of this has to stop. We have to stop making excuses. There needs to be a code of conduct. There even needs to be a separation, like Crick Rock says. He says there's black folks, and then there's, you know, them words. And however you want to take that, you can take that. But, you know, you don't need 5, 6, 7 times to get it right. You don't need, you're going back and forth to prison, get it right, get it done. We'll have a party for you. We'll pray for you. We'll build you up when you come home. But when you continue to go back, when you continue to abuse not only the system that you were involved in, but in our own family code of conduct, most of the people whose families go to prison, the families don't agree with what they've done.
All right.
The families are not about that.
Joanna,
okay, I'm gonna let it go because I want y'all to get in.
I don't want you to let it go. I just want you to listen to me for a moment. I have a curriculum here that we're dropping stuff. What it is that you are on point. That's why I brought you on. But you're taking folks down the road that we ain't get to yet. There's a certain point where I would actually kick it to you and you would be able to spit your hot 16, but you're giving them everything. You're telling them the butler did it. I got you. This is
He got us.
This is the specific curriculum based on specific literacies. You mentioned people that I'm actually going to be bringing up. You feel what I'm saying? So I want you to I know you grew up feasting on encyclopedias, right? So what I'm saying is that I was trying to tell you, taking them up a road that are already planning to take them, but you going fast. So I got you. You're on the stage. You got a mic, sis. All right?
Thank you, Chef. I appreciate it. And it's not just so I can have a mic, but I need it. And just Vic, I'm with you, brother. But I just got to say that the sister, however she's coming off, however her tone, however her vernacular, however her anecdotals, we all got that. Most of us got that. This is one thing that I agree with so-called black people. We all got these elements that we wish that were not there, and we don't understand. Why do you continue to make the same mistake? Why can't you, just like Jesus said, God said in the scripture, he told Cain, he said, why can't you just go on my program? Just get with my program and I will bless you. But we don't want to do that. So I'll end here and continue the conversation. And I trust that I will enjoy what I hear coming from this platform.
Of course you will. I just didn't want you to give away. You unwrapping the presents too early. It ain't midnight yet. Well, hold on a second. So let's talk, folks. All right. So I want to kind of bring up one of the things that we're talking about. We talked about the emotional literacy aspect. All right. We also started talking about fathers. Right. So we started talking about fathers, you know, and one of the questions that I asked was specifically about fathers not being present. So I'd like us to take a look at something really quickly, and you guys let me know how you feel about it. And get this question off the screen. Get my tech game up, don't mind me.
The similar mental health problems, the same violence on TV, and our daughters are not doing the shootings. Our sons are. And so here's just a sense of the location of those shootings in 2 years after Sandy Hook. School shootings are mostly white boys' method of acting out their hopelessness, and also the white boys' method of committing suicide. My perspective is I see suicide as a reflection in boys of our inability to help track boys in a constructive way toward manhood. And we see that in the data also. So, for example, before age 9, girls and boys committed suicide equally. Age 10 to 14, twice the amount for boys. 15 to 19, 4 times the amount. Age 20 to 24, 6 times the amount for boys. So if dad-deprived boys is the number one cause of the boy crisis,
let's talk about that. What do you guys feel about those statistics? When you hear those statistics laid out to you guys, what do you think about that with the font? Well, let me start off with 100 Watts because he's been a little quiet. All right, I'll go. Can you hear us 100 Watts? So let's go to what the font. What do you think when you hear those stats?
I'm not surprised, but I do think that in time, the number for the women is going to start getting higher with the way the social media and how that's kind of been leveling off. I think in the last 7 years, a lot of the women have been increasing because of online bullying and things of that nature. And that's been a huge focus in a lot of people as far as the government's community. But we've never really focused on the young Black boys or young boys in general. But I like what the gentleman said when he was kind of pointing at, like school shootings, right? And he showed those numbers. But think about the number of young Black men who have had shootings outside of the schools, because that beef that you have in school leads to you in the neighborhoods. So that number has not really been tracked. So you can track the shootings in schools, but can you really track the numbers of death that have occurred from inside the schools, from Black boys to Black boys, or beef that's happening in schools because it goes out in the streets? That's a number that's probably astronomically high because we do not have a safe community for them to grow in. And our temperament, again, is something that needs to be addressed.
All right. Andrea.
Yeah, so I was thinking about what he was saying, and if you go back and listen to them school shooting with them white kids, most of them white kids have a 2-parent home. Okay, so I'm just saying, most of them white children have a 2-parent home, and they're not saying anything about the black on black crime when it comes to young men, black men. So I'm just saying, I look at that and that tells me most of them white kids who had them school shootings, they had a 2-parent home.
I believe the stat that he was talking about was just the opposite, that the majority of those were single parent homes. But that was the way that the white young men expressed their discomfort, if you will. And I think that's a very good point, that what the funk just brought up. A lot of those things would originate in school, but I agree that a lot of black children do allow those things to spill out into the streets. And I would like to see a stat if that was possible to even be tracked, but I can imagine.
Yeah, like we focus on school shootings, but really in our community, there's been way more death that's occurred because of school beef spilling out in the streets.
True.
But yet our society is solely focused on when school shootings happen. It's an emergency, but it would be amazing if there was an emergency when a black kid had a problem with another black kid in school and then went on the streets and they shot. Like, that's our school shootings. Mm-hmm. We have school shootings in our streets everywhere.
True. I agree with that.
Can I jump in, Chef?
Of course you can.
I agree with what the funk just said. As a people, we continue to focus. Let me back up for a minute. Brother Just Vic said on another panel, and he said it so eloquently. I don't want to, destroy what he said. I'm gonna ask him directly. Brother Just Vic, you said something on another panel that 100 Watts was having on his channel, and you said comparison is the
thief of joy.
What did you say? Say that again, brother.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Is that your quote, brother? It doesn't matter. It's beautiful. Say again.
It existed long before me.
Well, I congratulate you for bringing that to 2021. Comparison is the thief of joy. And what I see and observe a lot in our so-called community is that, thank you, Chef. Thank you so much, Chef. What I see a lot, what I observe in our community is that we do this comparison analysis thing. And it usually is geared to prop us up, whichever way we look at it. But when we talk about the so-called white school shootings, like the Sandy Hook school shooting, 21-year-old so-called white boy got his AR-15 out that his mama, had or whatever the circumstance was, and shot those kids up and teachers up. We hold that up as a comparison. But like what the funk said, and we get upset behind that about those white school shootings, shooting up other white folks. Why don't we, Chef? Why don't we be marching over what's going on in the so-called black community? We get upset if somebody says, but what about black on black crime? Why do they say, what about black on black crime? Because we're killing more. There's more people